Good day, everyone. My name is Maria Kądzielska, and you are watching Poland Daily Culture. Today we continue with the story of the greatest Polish verse spinner, Adam Mickiewicz, the poet who is considered Polish Lord Byron. And if you haven't heard about him, it's high time to catch up. Either watch our previous episodes or stay with us today. I still haven't managed to invite Adam Mickiewicz to our show. It's all due to coronavirus, but Will Richardson is a good replacement.
Not really. I mean, I'm probably the worst replacement in the world. I don't even know who this guy is.
Well, that's why we're learning right now, as our audience is not maybe familiar with Adam Mickiewicz.
Yeah, so you can educate me at the same time. I'll ask some dumb questions. It'll be easy for me.
Well, that's why I have you here.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I'm like, if you could put your hand up my back, I could be like one of those dummies in the
Do you remember what we talked previously about?
My mind is a blank. We talked about Adam Mickiewicz, I remember that.
Thank you, yes. And
his early life.
Already in the previous episodes, we talked how he worked in Dresden about Forefathers' Eve, the greatest drama ever written in Polish language. So he finished this hard work and he decided to get some fun. So in 1832, he moved to Paris, accompanied by his friend and also ex-Philomath, Ignacy Domeyko. You can look up who Ignacy Domeyko was, because he's also a very interesting character, as many in those times. So Paris was one of the most popular places for artistic immigrants from Poland who couldn't freely work and live in Warsaw, Gdańsk, not Gdańsk, Krakow, or...
It was Danzig then, wasn't it?
Yes, it was German. So
yeah. That's what you were trying to say.
Yes, but no, I was trying to say that nowhere they could work.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so most of them moved to Paris. Yeah. And other good example is, of course, Chopin, yes.
Yeah, and it had a relationship with George Sand, a cross-dressing heck of a writer.
Yes, and Mickiewicz also knew personally George Sand, and he was no exception. So he stayed in Paris, and it was probably one of the best time in his life. He was popular. He was a star. He was picking up girls.
Hi. Who looks like a carrot?
Conan O'Brien.
Walking the streets in Paris, getting involved in many Polish artistic societies there, writing to Pielgrzym Polski, which is Polish Pilgrim.
Was that some kind of publication of the time?
Yeah, it was
literary publication.
It was a literary publication, newspaper, where many Polish writers, journalists.
Poles abroad, or something like that.
For Poles abroad, yes.
Right. Okay.
It was a huge society already in Paris.
Right. Yeah.
Along with aristocrats, Polish aristocrats, they had kind of source of money as well. But we should remind the audience that those people could speak also very good French. They were not literate. Mickiewicz also wrote in French.
Green, vert, towards, vert, glass, vert.
And wrote poetry in French, which is crazy.
A green worm pours a glass towards a glassmaker around 8 o'clock. Un verre vers verre sans verre vers un verrier vers 20 heures.
Probably French was easier than Polish, even for him.
No, come on.
I just think that's
but there is a fantastic moment.
Polish,
but there is a fantastic scene in Forefathers' Eve about this, when one of the aristocratic lady is in the party and she says, "Well, I can speak Polish. I am able to speak Polish, but I understand poetry only in French." Mm-hmm. Which, of course, teasing them and pulling the legs because every one of them was educated in Poland still, but because trying to fit in other societies, either Russian or French, they seem to forget Polish, which Mickiewicz was the biggest advocate not to do it. Because as long as the language is alive,
The society's life. And the reason they're in Paris, of course, is because they are émigrés because they can, especially artists, they can speak freely. And
Yes.
political writers, etc. Yeah.
In 1844, Mickiewicz publishes his another masterpiece and the longest poetic work he ever published, and that is, of course, Pantadeus.
Should I show the product?
We will with the product placement right now.
There it is. We'll do a little product placement for Mr. Mickiewicz, as if he needs it, because every school child has to read it.
Yeah, and the full title of Pantadeus is Pantadeus, or The Last Foray in Lithuania, a nobility's tale of years 1811-1812 in 12 book of verse. What is interesting, it is deemed the last great epic poem in European literature. Previously, such poems in Greek or in Latin were written in something which is called hexameter. Very hard.
Dactylic?
Dactylic hexameter.
Yeah.
And Mickiewicz wrote Pantadeus in something which is called Polish Alexandrines, and it's equivalent to
The same idea.
The same idea,
Yeah.
yes. And so far, Pantadeus was translated into 33 languages.
It's interesting because epic poem. He was then following. Byron, I think, had written Childe Harold, which was an extremely
But the main
big epic poem. Yeah.
The main
epic.
influence, or was Mickiewicz tried to mimic, is of course the Greeks, the Odyssey and the Iliad. That's why we have the beginning, the opening, which is of course opens Odyssey, is a different beginning. When you ask the muses to help you.
Yeah.
And here Mickiewicz, of course, refers to Virgin Mary. But the idea is pretty much the same. It's a tale of the story of the nation as well, and which portrays and captures some element of their lives which shall not be forgotten. And so thank you very much for watching Poland Daily Culture.